Hi everyone, Saskia here from Los Angeles Guinea Pig Rescue, and I have Sushi here with me today, and I want to talk about the difference between boy and girl guinea pigs. Which one is better, or which one is nicer, or less care? I mean, we get so many questions related to that when people come and adopt it. I thought, you know what, it's probably a really good subject to talk about in a video. What's up? He's talking to me. I don't know if you guys can hear him. I can. He's like, all right, here. You want to go back? You want to go back? Okay. Aside from, obviously, there's a physical difference, so I'm going to show you that right now. He is a grown male, and that's what that looks like. So you can really see the testicles here. When you press here, you will also feel that there is this little harder thing in here, which is the penis. So there's like a lot there that girls don't have. So let me go grab a girl. I can show you. And this is Zena, this is Sushi's life partner. And she, as you can see, does not look anything like Sushi. It's just all very minimal down here, whereas opposed to he, it's lots of stuff hanging. So there, that's the first obvious difference. So I asked Ursula to write down a few questions as well, so that I'm sure I'm going to cover everything. So people come in and they say, well, you know, I want to adopt a girl, and that happens most of the time. It's like, I want a girl guinea pig, and you know, it's actually one of the reasons why we always have more boys, and the boys just don't get adopted out as fast as the girls, because online people read that girls are better than boys, and they don't smell as much, and they're, you know, not aggressive, etc. So let's talk about that. So you want to stay here with me? You're a good girl. Okay.
So are girls not as aggressive as boys?
Well, that's a good question, but it all depends on what are you talking about, because do you mean, are they aggressive toward people? Because that is kind of what I think about when people say, you know, that this guinea pig is more aggressive, is that it's aggressive toward people, and that is actually super rare. That really doesn't happen. You don't have aggressive guinea pigs that will really just go after someone and try and bite your hand. It's very rare that guinea pigs bite. So in terms of aggression in that respect, guinea pigs are not aggressive. Now, probably what they're talking about is the boys. Are boys aggressive? Well, boys can be aggressive with each other. So yeah, it's not easy to find a partner for a male, because they can just be little buttheads. You know, it can be tough. So guinea pigs can definitely, you know, get into a fight during an introduction, whereas girls will not do that. So that's definitely something that, you know, it's not one of the funner aspects of a boy guinea pig, but there is, I always say, there's always a partner for every single guinea pig. There really is. So there's that one. So that would be like, you know, the con, I guess, for a boy.
But do we ever see females not getting along here?
We do, yeah, absolutely. We do have females that also don't get along, and we have a hard time bonding them. So it's not as often as boys, for instance, but it definitely can happen. You know, there's this other thing is that where people told me, well, I read online that, you know, the boys eventually will break up. So then what? Then I need two cage setups, because I won't be able to, you know, that's going to be a problem because I can only have one cage. And then I got to tell you that that's not true. It's not true. Of course, they can break up. It can happen, but it's not like it's almost a 50% chance or so. It's very small. Once a bond is formed and they are really okay together and they're just like happy together, I mean, they just grow old together, you know, and they're very happy. So that really should not be a deciding factor, I don't think. You know, once they are bonded, they usually are very good together. So
one of the questions that a lot of people ask too is, do females bond better with humans than male guinea pigs?
Yes, I know. That's a question people ask. Absolutely no difference there. If anything, and I always say this, my boys are boys, right? So I have boy guinea pigs, and I'm lucky because I have 4 of them that all get along really well. But it definitely is not the case that girls are easier or sweeter or nicer. If anything, boys are more outgoing. That's what I find. I find them a little more outgoing a little braver than the females. Haven't you found that, Urs? I mean, what do
Yeah,
you think?
I have boys. I love my boys, but I think it also just depends on their personality and not necessarily based on
Yes.
gender.
Right, exactly. It's definitely personality because, for instance, my Podrick is not very outgoing at all. Though I've had him since he was a baby, so his personality is just very guarded. He just likes to keep to himself, and whereas the other three are always right there at the front of the cage and wanting to, cookies and they're begging for snacks and treats, etc. So you're right. It definitely is down to the individual guinea pig and its personality, and their personalities vary enormously. They really do. From super outgoing and just super fun and like, wow, that's a real character, to just very timid and very shy. And that doesn't change across the, whether it's boy or girl. That is the same, right? So yeah, absolutely.
Another big one is cleanliness, like boy part.
Oh yes, the boy parts. Yes. So people see. I've actually got a bunch of videos on that because it's important to do. So I want to make sure people understand and educate people on how to do it. It's not a big deal. It looks bad and it's a little stinky, but the good thing is that when you're doing this boy cleaning, actually, I'm skipping way ahead of myself here. Because a lot of people might be watching that don't even know what I'm talking about. Guinea pigs have a pocket right before I should have showed it actually when I was holding sushi. Anyway, guinea pig boys have a pocket that when they get to about a year and a half or two or so, you want to just make sure that it stays clean. You also want to, when we're doing the boy cleaning, you also want to make sure that there's no smegma or any, shavings or pieces of hay stuck in the sheath with the penis, because that you don't want that either, and that can happen. It really can. But that's just, it's not that hard, it really isn't. There's so many videos out there and explaining on how to do it. And yes, it does smell a little bit, the stuff that comes out, but that doesn't mean that boys are smelly, because that stuff is tucked in so well that you don't actually smell it unless you are cleaning it out. So you don't smell it at all. I've actually never smelled that outside of, when I'm working on cleaning it, don't smell it. So
Now, what about females? Do they have anything with the reproductive system, females related?
So physically, what is the difference, down the line when they get a little older with boys and girls? So, okay, so boys do need that cleaning, the parts cleaning, which is, it's not pleasant. But then, on the other hand, females, when they get older, are extremely prone, unfortunately, to get reproductive issues. So they will get ovarian cysts, which is very common. You see when they start to kind of swell on the sides, they become a little big. Like she actually has quite sizable sides here. So she could actually possibly have some cysts here, even though she's not really showing much more any, other outwardly signs. But they can get crusty nipples, which also indicates there's something going on inside. And sometimes it's more than just a cyst, because the cysts are kind of manageable, right? Most of them, you don't really, have to run to the vet for them. But sometimes they can get really bad, whereby the female loses hair. She will usually lose hair all the way on the sides here. The nipples will get really crusty and enlarged. And they also change their personality. They become really bossy. They become very kind of just not happy and grumpy, and they'll start to chase everyone around in the cage, with the other girls that they're living with. So that all of that is not good, and unfortunately females are prone to that. There are injections you can do for when it's just ovarian cysts that work really well. It's like once every 2-3 months an injection will work. But often I just recommend people, whenever I see that their guinea pig really has all the symptoms and it's not looking good, and so probably the best thing is for you to have the surgery done and have just the whole thing taken out, everything taken out, because then she's not going to have those problems. In fact, one of our volunteers just did that with her guinea pig. She had a spade on, so everything was taken out, and she went from being skinny and like so much hair loss, and oh man, she was just not happy, and these really thick, horrible, nipples that were just really look painful, to within like 3 weeks to the hair growing back. She's gaining the weight. So, so there's a lot to be said for maybe even considering a space surgery beforehand.
She even had to separate her from her bonded pair because they were fighting so much.
She got so aggressive. Yeah,
but
yes.
they're back together
So
now.
you know what? If you whoever's watching this video, if you have girl guinea pigs that are like 3 and over, you know what? Look at them. Turn them over and look. And you want to specifically check the nipples. Just feel if you can feel it. And you can actually take some crud off it as well. You want to feel and see if the nipples are enlarged, and you want to check for these really bulgy sides, because that will also tell you that something's going on. And of course that hair loss. Now, the female hair loss is often misdiagnosed as a parasite. So people will go through the treatments like for mange and for ringworm, etc., when in fact it's none of those, and it's purely a physical issue that's causing that. Sadly, a lot of vets don't see enough guinea pigs to really recognize that on site, right? So they go through battery tests, etc., when it is in fact a reproductive issue. So that's the not so nice thing about girls. Okay, so I think that. Well, what do I think? I think they're all good. I mean, I can't advise you to say, oh, maybe it's better to go for the girl over the boy. I mean, they both have pros and cons. So I think that this is what I think. If you're getting a guinea pig, if you're adopting a guinea pig, you need to go with your heart. Which I always tell people that when they come and adopt, it's like, okay, I want to know your top 3 choices, and then we'll take it from there. And I just say, go walk around and see the piggies, and I know there's gonna be a special one that is for you, and you're gonna feel it in your heart. You're gonna know. So really just listen to your heart and go by your gut that tells you whether it's a boy or a girl. So how's that for an answer? I think that's a good one.
One last one, and this is a big one for a lot of people. A lot of people want a lot of guinea pigs. So when you have males, how many males can you have versus how many females can you have?
Okay, right. So yeah, so a lot of people have 2 boys that are bonded, are a beautiful bond, but they like to have more guinea pigs, cannot do another cage, another setup. So they're hoping to put more boys together to live together, and that is really, really hard to do. I have my 4 boys living together, but that's because I pick their personality. They're I call them Buddha pigs. Those are pigs that are just so zen, and they don't display the usual male dominant behavior, or the teeth chattering or the lunging at each other when they get introduced, and it's really hard to find that. So I was lucky, and I was able to have 4 piggies that live together in peace. But yeah, I always recommend people don't do it. Don't introduce a 3rd one, because you know what? You're risking that you are going to end up with 3 unbonded guinea pigs. So you're going to have 3 cages that are not going to be able to be put together again. So that's the risk you're taking. So unfortunately, if you're looking to get more guinea pigs living in the same enclosure, then girls and neuter boys is going to be your best option.
Another thing too is people say, well, what if I get all of my males neutered? Won't they calm down and get along?
Yeah, so I know that's a big one too. So I found that in certain males, immediately after neutering, they are like different. And I found that in other males, it doesn't make a difference whatsoever. They are still as feisty with other boy guinea pigs as they were before their neuter. So it's a crapshoot. You just don't know what you're going to get after the surgery. So don't count on the fact that your boy is now going to get along with other boys, because that's not always the case.
Yeah, and you don't want to put them through the risk of
Right.
the surgery
Right.
just to
And that's
find
the
out.
other thing. Surgery is tough on guinea pigs. If you can avoid it, then please do. Same with the space surgeries. That's why I'm I did mention earlier maybe just about do the spaying surgery sooner rather than later until they start to display symptoms, but that's a little drastic as well, to be honest. But then the problem with that surgery is that often they don't become symptomatic until they are already at a certain age, and that the older they get, the harder it's going to be for surgery. So that's talking specifically about the females and their kind of hormonal problems. So
And how many females can you have living together if you wanted?
Well, you got to obviously be reasonable about it, but you can have, you know, we have a whole big group actually living together. It's what, about 80 or so? We've had groups of 100 female guinea pigs living together, and they do really well. If they have the space, it's easier for them to get along than if they are contained in an enclosure. So, and we're trying to, Ursula also is trying to get a boy group that are going to live happily together, because that can be done, but it's just a lot harder.
I have 9
So,
right now.
There's 9 living together, yeah. But that's not easy.
Nope. All right.
So I think we covered it, huh?
Yeah, if anybody
Yeah.
else has
So you
any
prob-
other boys versus girls questions, they can definitely put it in the comments.
Right, absolutely. And yeah, if you came to this video hoping you were going to get the answer to boy or girl, I'm sorry, because there really is no answer.
I
There
always
isn't.
tell everybody, you can't help who you fall in love with when you come here.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's all about personality. It's
Yeah.
not about looks. It's not about color.
It's about your heart.
It's about
right.
who pulls at your heartstrings.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks, us.